got exactly 5 weeks until the next training event. So we've got some great things on the Sunday evening call. We're not going to do a team update this evening. We have got international marketing directors, Clos and Peter Kuffler, which, you know, I personally met them through this concept. They shared this concept with Andrew and I just over 3.5 years ago. And when we first met them, I think they just hit senior rep at the time, and we've watched their journey over the last 3.5 years. And we obviously are privileged now to have them on the call. This call is going to be recorded. We are going to upload it so you can share it with other people on your groups that have missed it. But Chris and Peter, I know you guys were with us yesterday. Can you both hear us loud and clear?
Loud and clear, I'm here.
Can you hear me?
Awesome. So, Peter, can we get a visual on you? Are you in an area we can get a visual on you?
Oh, there we go.
Awesome. Great. So, guys, we've got Clos and Peter Kuffler. So, guys, thank you so much for being on the Q&A this evening. You know, I know I've been talking to you for a couple of weeks about getting you guys on. And I want to take you back. I remember when both of you tried to get Andrew and I to see the concept of Ward Ventures. You know, Peter, a.k.a. the Pitbull, you were relentless in phoning Andrew. And, you know, Chris, I remember Andrew sitting down with you and Peter and then saying I needed to come and see this concept through you guys. And I think, I can't remember, were you guys just hit senior rep, or were you not senior rep though in those days?
Wow.
Sally, I think we were either just on the verge of hitting senior rep, or we were just senior reps, yes.
Okay, awesome. So I want to take everybody back on this call, because the reality is everybody always sees you hitting those high ranks, that high success level. And there's very few people that actually have watched the two of you grow through this journey. And we've watched both of you along the way. So I want to take you back to that day when you just hit senior rep, and then each rank that you guys did along the way, building both your businesses together. What did you do from senior rep to IMD?
So, you know, when we hit senior rep, we had the biggest adversity that I think anyone can have, and that was when the media hits through Cape Town. And, you know, just after that, you had joined, you got going, we came to your house, we introduced you to session, and you were just like, you know, bull in a china shop, exactly like me, head down, going for everything. And then, of course, the media hits, and we lost so many people. We nearly lost our whole team. But, you know, Chris and I remember clearly that if there's one person that stayed and was relentless, it was you. And that's exactly what makes this company and this as a team so different to, you know, conventional business. Because that was just to show us who our real leaders were and who wasn't with us. And there was only a handful of people that were still stuck with us, but the main two that we could remember was you and Andrew. Chris?
Absolutely, guys. You know, I want to add, you know, the key thing I want to add to that is that how we inspire each other, because those were tough times. I mean, you know, the crazy thing is that some people will join with you now. They'll be here today, but they won't be here tomorrow. And what was really mind-blowing is how many friends we had join us that said they were going to be with us until the end. We were going to get this done. IMD, we're stopping at nothing. We've got your back. And when the tough times came, they were the first people to run. So many of them, and in fact, half of them took half of their teams as well. But I remember Sally, Andrew, Peter, myself, we always said it didn't matter how many times we rebuilt this business. We didn't start just to travel. We didn't start just to make money. We started to make a difference in people's lives. But more than that, we started to finish this race. And for me personally, I've been written off so many times. I mean, Peter, he's been through this as well. You guys have been through this as well. How many times have people said to us that we can't do this? How many times have people said these things won't work? Even before this business, so many people said to me, Chris, you won't do this. You won't achieve that. You won't do this. I mean, it started at school. And I just figured when I saw this with guys like you, partners like you can't fail. When you find the right people in your team, the right people in your organization, They become family, and you cannot fail.
So thanks, Chris. You know, Sally and Andrew, so it was about 6 months until senior rep. Then we pushed on through, was about a year until director. And along those times, myself and Chris got together, and just after senior rep, between, it was somewhere just before we hit director, where senior reps, we all went to United, our first United, and Sally, you came with us. And that was our deciding factor when we're going to come back to, to Africa and take this seriously, but also not only take this seriously, but to join forces. And that's when everything changed, because we saw the bigger picture. For the first time in my life, I saw freedom. I saw what real leaders were doing and how they were living. Session was a real leader. He was living, but we wanted to also meet other people that had done it, because there was only one IMD. There was only one success story, and that was Session Governor. That was it. We heard about these other people. We saw them on the internet, but we never got to meet them. And we got to meet Wayne, and that just inspired us. So from there, we pushed on through, hit marketing director, and marketing director took us, I would say, 2 years to hit, because don't forget, myself and Chris were doing it part-time, I was doing it part-time. And from there, it took us another, how long, Chris? I would say another year.
Marketing director, we got comfortable. Marketing director, we got very comfortable. We started building the second position as well, which we hit MD very quickly. And, I think, like Peter was saying, going to the trainings and just reiterating a little bit on the trainings, something happens at the trainings, things you can't explain. I've always said, you don't get into World Ventures gets into you. And when you go to these events, Sally will know, we got there, was it 4 o'clock in the morning? 4 o'clock in the morning, there was 15,000 people queuing. And even though we were at 4 o'clock in the morning, up was 4 in the morning, sleeping on the floor, Peter, myself, and to get into the queue, it was just crazy what we were doing to get into these venues. But it didn't matter, because once we were in there, the atmosphere, the energy just lifted us. It just carried us. I can see Sally smiling right now. I know Peter's grinning right now, because they know exactly what we're talking about. So at these events, along the journey, things happen that you can't explain. Bonds are created that you cannot explain. And I think this is the importance of these events. Peter and I, Sally, Andrew, we don't see each other every hour. We don't see each other every day. But it's as though we are seriously connected and as one. And that's what happens at these events. And like Peter was saying, Director MD was quite a journey. MD was very, very comfortable for us, Pete. We were there for a good length of time. And we were maxing out marketing director income, cycling 30, 40 times a week. If you don't know what a cycle is, $50. Well, then it was, so $50 a cycle right now. It's good money. It's really, really good money. In fact,
back then it was $100.
Correct, yeah. The compensation plan was slightly different.
20 to 30 times a week, yeah.
40
to 50 times
100%. So, now we start earning thereabout what we were earning in our jobs, but we don't have a job. And we're taking holidays, and we don't have a job. And then you go on holiday, and you get 30, 40 cycles in the week. And so we got very, very comfortable, Pete?
Yeah, and then, from there we went to our second United.
Yeah.
And, there was a trainer talking, and I was sitting there in the crowd, and, I got up and I walked off, and Chris said, "Where are you going?" I said, "No, and something just clicked. We always push people to go to training because you'll get that aha moment." And I remember clearly, I got up. Session Governor was training, but it wasn't even his segment. It was another trainer, and something just went bang in my head. I got up, I walked right down to where, I had to try and find a Wi-Fi zone. And I phoned, my ex-wife, and I said to her, "Listen here, I've just made a decision. I'm closing my business after 20 odd years. And she laughed at me. She said, "Yeah, I've heard that before." I said, "Watch this space. I'm done. I'm out. I've had enough of the stress. This is the life that we deserve." And be that as it may, got home 3 months later, I was done. Business closed. And, Chris and I had a good meeting or two and said, "Listen, we got to get uncomfortable. We got to really push this for the team. We got to hit the next rank. What do we do? What do we do?" And we just started to tour. We went out the country and we started to tour. And literally our first tour, 2 weeks from double marketing director to RMD. Remember that, Chris?
Absolutely. And it's interesting what Peter says. You talk about burning the bridge. Sometimes the bridge is burned for you, or sometimes you make a decision to burn the bridge. And Peter made the decision to burn his own bridge. He decided to cut the tire and not look back, but he also realized he had nothing to go back to, so it was a do or die scenario. He had to make it work. And in fact, on my board over here, I've got the 26th of August written down. For me, my bridge was burnt. I had two companies, one here in South Africa, and I had money invested in a company in England. Irrespective, some things went wrong. A decision was made that was out of my control, that left me in a position where I was out of pocket of 100,000 Rand every single month. It wasn't my decision. It was out of my control. And around about the same time, literally, as I say, my bridge was burned. So it's crazy. Now, the point I'm trying to make here is that so many of us build this business and we have a job. And that's good. There's nothing wrong with that. But I want people to look at this and just imagine for one moment that tomorrow you got to work and your boss said to you, "We no longer require you." How would you survive? What would your financial circumstance be like right now? And I want people to understand that they need to build this business as though their bridge is going to be burnt this week, as though their job will be gone this week. Because if it is gone and it happens to everybody, what is the situation going to be like? What position would you be like right now? And that's where Peter and I sat down and we realized there's no looking back. There's only looking forward.
And thanks, Chris. We're not saying to you leave your jobs. Don't get us wrong. We're not saying leave your jobs. We will, we'll get to this just now. There's a time and a place to leave your job. You will know in your heart when it's time to leave your job, when it's time to, do this full time. So, 2 weeks to hit RMD from when we made the decision, that was probably 3 years in. And then another, just after, was about 6 to 8 months. We went RMD, NMD, IMD, bang. Correct. And that was, when we hit IMD, it was actually surreal. We still didn't know or understand or feel that we were IMDs for the next couple of months because it just felt so surreal because we worked so freaking hard, with the end goal in mind, and it was like the end goal wasn't coming. The end goal wasn't coming. Every time we were nearly there, got pushed further. Every time we nearly got there, got pushed further. And it was like, are we ever going to do this? It was so frustrating. I mean, we were fighting. We were just frustrated because, I'd closed my business after 20 years because I wanted to finish this race. And if this race wasn't going to be finished, like I'm thinking to myself, for my family, what have I done? But then, God has a very, very good sense of humor, and bang, Christmas Day last year, we hit the rank of IMD.
So well done, guys. You know what? I love the fact that you guys have spoken us through the journey because everyone always seems to think the race is going to be done quickly and with no adversity. So, you just reminded all of us because right now, Andrew and I are resonating with you guys. It took us a while to hit regional marketing director, and we're sitting in that space now where we frustrated, but we know that if you stay the course long enough, it's going to come eventually. So it's not about how quickly you get it done. It's the fact that you just stay and get it done. So I know Andy's got a great question for you guys now. And I know normally we take 30 minutes on these calls, that we're on a roll right now and we're recording this call. So it may take longer. 270 people on the call right now. Guys, give us your hands because I don't think we're going to end this one too quickly tonight.
All right, cool, guys. So, Peter, you mentioned something earlier about burning bridges. Chris, you mentioned the same thing. And, bearing in mind that both of you are doing this on a full-time basis. So I want to talk to those guys on the call right now that have quit their full-time jobs. They are doing world ventures on a full-time basis. This is their job. So we know if they are doing this full-time, there's certain things that they should be doing. There's certain exposures they need to be doing because at the end of the day, this is their business, right? So I want to ask you guys, particularly for those people who are doing world ventures full-time, talk us through the daily disciplines that they should be doing in this business to get the results that they want.
Okay, so thanks, Andrew. Chris, I'll just take the lead on this, and then I'll hand it over to you as well. So if you have left whatever work you're doing, whether it's your own business, whether it's not, and you're not disciplined, you will fail. Mm-hmm. Discipline means waking up early in the morning. If you got to take your kids to school, get it done. Then get back. And, you've got to find 1 hour a day for yourself, for personal development. Because if you don't have that, you haven't even started the day. You have to find 1 hour of a day just for yourself. And that 1 hour could be 30 minutes of self-development. It could be just, leaving your phone. Don't touch your phone. Thanking God, thanking the powers that be, the universe, whatever you believe, for what you have. Wherever you are, thanking, the universe for your health. Thanking for world ventures. Then you have to have planned your day the night before. You have to plan making those calls. You have to at least do 3 to 5 one-on-one presentations per day to win big. If you're not doing that, you're killing yourself. If you're not going from one-on-ones to home events, through to big presentations during the week, like big shots, bank presentations, etc., you're playing yourselves. You've got to be disciplined because if you don't, you will fail 100%. I've had often days, weeks where I haven't wanted to do that. I haven't wanted to, have the discipline. And trust me, on those days, on those weeks, I personally have failed. Failed myself, failed my family, failed my team. Thanks, Chris.
Absolutely. Thank you, Pete. Guys, you have to be completely obsessive. You have to. I can go back to literally each rank: senior rep, director, marketing director, RMD, NMD, IMD. And I think I've worked, I know Peter definitely has, along with both of us. We've worked harder at this than we did in our own jobs. We worked longer at this than we did in our own jobs. And I remember being marketing directors, we were at a training, and I think it was Johnny Wimbury, I can't remember who it was, and he asked, who's doing this full time? Now, this is a question I'm going to ask people on the call right now. Who is doing this full time? And so he made us stand up and everything. And he said, if you're doing this many...
Chris, do you know who it was? Ed Blunt.
Yeah.
Ed Blunt, because Andrew and I were standing next to you and Peter at that event. I remember this one.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah.
And, so to the people on the call right now, if you're doing this full time, how many presentations are you doing a day? Is it 3 to 5? Is it 5 to 10? Is it 15 to 20? How many are you doing a day? You see, the crazy thing is, work it out. If you're doing 3 to 5, if you're doing 3, each presentation takes how long? 35, 40 minutes? Yeah. So let's say you're doing an hour presentation because you just like to talk, like me. But anyway, so that means it's 3 hours. If you're in a job, you work for what, 8, 9 hours? That means if you're full-time and doing 3 hours a day, you're a joke. You're a joke. You're not doing this full-time. You're doing this part-time. And I remember standing there, and I think it was myself, you guys, Peter, Darren, Dick, Session Governor, were the last 4 people standing in an audience of about 2,000 people. And what I realized there and then is that we were playing with this thing. I realized then and then that we were a joke and that we had to up our game. So like Peter said, start the morning off fresh. Either go to gym, take an hour or two of yourself, get personal development, get the mind right, get the engine firing first. Get it positive and get it firing. From there on, my day normally starts around 10 o'clock. Well, it does now as an IMD. So we start about 10 o'clock. I normally get my first meeting in. We might do 3 to 5 presentations a day, but we're doing probably around 20 to 30 exposures a day. That's online, that's personals, that's Facebook, that's Instagram. But what has happened is it's become a routine. It's become a habit. We're constantly working. When the wife goes to bed and the son goes to sleep, I sneak back into the office and I'm back on it again because we haven't finished the race yet. We might be IMDs, but for me and Peter, we see double, we see triple. We've always said we're not going to be the fastest, but we'll be number one. We'll be the biggest. Pete?
And with all of that said, this is not a normal job. At the end of my career with my conventional business, to be honest with you, when I first started, I loved what I did. I had a passion. And that's why I was so freaking successful in what I did. Towards the end, it was like Sunday, like tonight, I'd be thinking, and I made a joke with Chris in the car today saying, guess what, it's work tomorrow. Then we both laughed because we don't work, and it's like walking into work and not wanting to go to work. It's like walking into your job and not wanting to be there. You need to love the process. You need to enjoy the process. So the reason that Chris gets back on his phone or gets back on his computer, the reason that I will stand in an aisle at Pick n Pay or Worst and talk to someone about, world ventures is because we love it. Peter, how you guys so successful? You tell everyone that you see. Okay, so Peter, what do you mean? You tell everyone that you see. Everyone? No. You tell everyone that you see. It's actually that plain and simple. Mm-hmm. You don't take short measures. You just tell freaking everyone. That's your job. Whether they say yes or no, it doesn't matter. Your job is to show people. But the main thing about this is not a job. You need to have fun. And when you start having fun and enjoying what you do, myself and Chris, we are retired. We just have fun. In fact, right now, like Chris says, we start our day at 10. Sometimes, we have a long wake up at 10, 11. So what? Because we're IMDs. We love what we do. We cannot wait to wake up the next morning because we just love what we do. Thanks, Chris.
Awesome.
Sal, I want to refer a book to people quickly, if I may. Malcolm Gladwell, The Outliers. I don't read too well, so I do audios. And Malcolm Gladwell, The Outliers, really, for me, summarize what you need to do from senior rep, director, marketing director, RMD, NMD. Listen or read the book, Malcolm Gladwell, The Outliers, and that'll really outlay who Peter and I were up until at least NMD, because IMD came quick.
Guys, you mentioned just now about exposures, and Chris, you also spoke about the Zooms, you spoke about the one-on-ones, you spoke about the Instagram. So let's stay there for a little bit. I want to ask you guys a question. You got various platforms that you do for your exposures. Online versus bank meetings, which one is getting you the best results?
All of them.
Yeah, I was going to say exactly the same thing. If you're not doing online, if you're not doing one-on-ones like face-to-face, if you're not, building up. So Sessions always taught us, start with, if it's online one-on-one or a face-to-face one-on-one, it's still one-on-one. Yeah. Then the one-on-ones progress to two-on-ones. Then, invite to house parties when someone first signs up, get into their house. Get into that secure environment where it's warm, it's welcome. Get into their house. From there, you invite to a bank meeting. From bank meetings, you invite to the bigger 9 o'clock Zoom. From that, you invite to Super Saturdays. And that's how we build from the bottom to the top. Week in, week out. Month in, month out. Thanks, Chris.
Awesome.
You know, to drive anywhere. I mean, if I'm going to drive to Cape Town, Joburg, wherever I'm going to go, first of all, I need a vehicle. But that vehicle is not going to work without wheels. It's not going to work without engine. It's not going to work without oil. It's not going to work without fuel. It's not going to work without windscreen wipers. You need all of that to make that car work and drive and be literally licensed to get from A to B. And I think the same thing applies to this business. Yes, start off one-on-ones. Great, you've got to start off somewhere. But eventually you'll find your comfortable spot. You'll be comfortable with Zooms. You'll be comfortable shaking a hand with somebody standing in the queue at a bank or turning around and just greeting somebody. So everything works as long as you do it all the time, consistently and persistently.
Okay, brilliant answer, guys. Thank you.
So, you know, guys, I know for the people on this call, you know, we actually dropped Chris and Peter a list of questions, possible questions, and I'm going to bring one in now that these guys don't know about, because I think it's very good that we discussed this. So I got really good at leveraging off Chris and Peter. And what I mean by that, you know, basically we've always gone to the training events and people talk about leverage, and a lot of us don't use leverage to the full advantage. So what I do with Chris and Peter is I'm constantly aware of where Chris and Peter are currently working, which area they're going to be in, and I leverage off where they're going to be. So I'm going to ask Chris and Peter to talk about two things, because what I do with Chris and Peter is, like Chris said, we don't talk every day, we don't see each other every day, but what I do is I'm asking them where you guys are going to be next, because if I've got team members in that area, I'm going to make sure that my team leverage off Chris and Peter when they're in that area. So I want to talk about two things. I want to talk about the leverage and then building through, because by me leveraging off Chris and Peter, essentially what I'm doing is I'm telling them who is in that area in our downline so they can build through me, because they don't need me to be in that area all of the time to build a big organization. So can you guys talk to us about that?
Yeah, sure. So, you know, the one thing that we've got good at is obviously touring. But also when you're doing a tour, you need to let your whole team know. You need to let the greater part of team expansion know. And, you know, if you're going to do that and you do it properly, then you are giving yourself your servant leadership, which, you know, Chris and I have really, really always had this feeling that we are probably, you know, one of the, or probably some of the best servant leaders for team expansion in Africa. And the reason that we do that is because, you know, all the audios and, you know, the reading and the beliefs and the faith, whatever you put out into the universe will come back. And it's amazing that every single time we focus on an area or we project where we want to, you know, our thoughts are going, and we put it out there, it just seems to flow back into our lives tenfold. And, you know, yeah, it's about having gratitude. It's about serving. It's about giving, and whatever you give, you will get back. So, you know, let your people know where you're going. You know, also, if you know that a leader is going to be in your area and you've seen it, leverage off them. You know, Darren Dix is a master at leverage. And, you know, you can leverage off anyone. It doesn't matter. It's the way you promote that person. It's the way you promote. It's all in the promoting. You know, promotion is everything. You know, the guy could be anything. He could be a senior rep, but if you promote him, you know, that he's a fantastic leader, and, you know, he's this and he's that, and, you know, you give him the promotion that he needs and the edification. Doesn't matter what he is. It's the way you promote it. It's the way you've edified that you can leverage off that person in that area. And it's game over, because all you're getting to do again is get someone to be in front of the information. That's it. You just need to get a freaking butt in that seat. Thanks, Chris.
You know, guys, I'll be totally honest with you. Having lived in the UK for 15 years, returned back to South Africa, most of the friends and colleagues I used to hang around with weren't really around much. So what I realized very quickly, as soon as we got a personal, as soon as we got people into the organization, as soon as we got people into the team, I was able to leverage not just off them as an individual, but more importantly, their phone, because that was their list, and I could build through very quickly. And Peter and I have become masters, absolute masters at building through. Let me give you an example. Someone introduces us to someone who introduces us to someone who introduces to someone, and we create a national marketing director in 15 months. Someone we never knew from a bar of soap, but through someone, and probably 350 to 400 people in that person's team was done via Zoom. Again, leverage, build through. Someone introduces us to someone, again, and we create a marketing director, almost RMD, in 10 months. That guy goes and puts 2,500 people into the team. So was it me and Peter? No, not necessarily. We just got good at leveraging, and we got good at building through. So what I mean by building through, it's simple. Number one, I meet Sally. Sally has a mobile phone. I sit down with Sally. She makes 10, 15, 20 phone calls. I make sure I help her get at least 3, 4 people. Peter meets someone. He sits down with them. They make phone calls. He doesn't leave until he gets 1, 2, 3, or 4 signups. From there, we've got 4 people that we can leverage off, that we can build through, and now build an empire. Guys, I don't think people understand the power of the leverage and building through. Let's use another example. So we all have a left team and a right team, correct? I remember Sashin saying from day one, build your organization as though you were on the beach and on holiday and they never require you. And that's why every time Peter and I take a vacation, we cycle a bunch of times, like a lot of bunch times. You can speak about that later. But, just think about that. You've got a left team and a right team. We have just got really good at making sure our teams work with our teams. So let's just put this out. Person A, person B. You see, person A is sometimes going to need person B, even though they don't benefit off each other. But if they work together, person A could be in another country building their team, but person B, who's on the other team, is still helping building their team. When he comes back and this person leaves and goes to build another team in another city, he takes over and builds in that city. So the importance of leveraging off each other, working as a team and helping each other is more so ever in this organization, in this company. And the thing is, people aren't accustomed to this. People, because in our own businesses, we are the company. We have to, if we don't work, if we don't look after our own organization, we don't make money. But in this, we have to leverage off each other. We have to work together. And the key thing is, when your own organization build through. Pete?
Also, just to add to that, is that if you are working and you're building through and you're working through someone's list and you find out that one of those people that you've met and you've got a photo with or whatever is someone well respected in that community, whether it's a celebrity, whether, he's wealthy, whether he's a good sportsman, whatever. Even if that person doesn't sign, you leverage off that person. And that's what we've also become good at, is finding someone in that area that's got credibility that we say, hey, look who, is potentially joining us. If he or she joins, do you want to be under them or above them? And you use that for leverage. And then building through, we've just got good at duplication, which is literally signing someone up, doing the station governor fast start training video, doing the list, and pushing them to start doing their own presentations. Yes, pushing them to try and start doing their own presentations. We've had so many people push back, like, no, I'm not ready. Tough, then don't do it. You will find your leader. We're looking for people that are looking for us. We're not looking for babies, because babies aren't going to make you a fortune. And, you know, just to end off on this question, is building through, getting leverage, duplication. If you don't constantly go back to that place that you're building and keep going back for the support and the credibility, you will lose that whole team. Don't go somewhere, start building, leave that place for 6 months or, you know, or a year, and then wonder why your whole team has just gone right down again. Thanks, guys.
Cool. So, guys, you've basically given some incredible answers. Thank you for that. We're going to close off with my last question for you, both of you. I'm going to talk about my own experience, and I'm sure that both of you on the call have had the similar experience as well. So we join World Ventures. We start getting exposed to personal growth development. Our mindset starts changing. Our friendship starts changing, and we start hearing Jim Rohn quotes saying you become the average of the people you spend most of your time with, and that starts happening. And people start realizing this business, I need a mentor. Who's going to coach me? Who's going to help me? Who's going to take me to the next level? But we also got to understand that, you know, you got to qualify first to have a mentor. You can't just join World Ventures and decide someone's going to mentor you. You need to deserve it, right? So my question to both of you on the call right now is, who do you look up to for mentorship? And secondly, how does one reach out to a mentor?
Well, I'll go first on that one.
Go for it.
See how Peter feels. You know, guys, I'm going to refer back to, there's two things I want to refer to. One is my sporting background, having played rugby. And that just took a lot of discipline. You know, training twice a day and just being outright disciplined with diet, with training, etc. But more importantly, being accountable to another training partner or someone we could run with. For me, it's been very, very easy in World Ventures. I've had my brother, Peter. You know, we've been accountable to each other.
I was going to say exactly that.
You know, we've been accountable to each other. We've had each other to push each other. And, you know, so, okay, not everyone's working with somebody. But I know Peter and I have always said, you don't have to be in the same team to be accountable with somebody. What you need to find is someone in World Ventures that is going to push you, that's going to be your running partner. So, you know that maybe someone is cross the line to you or somewhere in the organization. Get their number, stay in contact with them. So understand something. With our team, with the people in our organization, some people have just got it. Sally and Andrew, you guys have just got it. I mean, the only time you come to us is very rarely anyway. And that's great, but not everyone's got it. So what do you do? So I know from day one, no one was going to coach us. No one was going to mentor us unless I proved myself or ourselves. I remember Sasha saying to me and Peter, go out there and do something for me to remember your name. Go out there and prove to me that you are the person that I want to work with. Because Sasha always said no one helped him. No one did presentations for him. No one helped him. So World Ventures is in a position where everything you need is on the back office. Everything you need is on YouTube. Everything is there. In fact, you don't even need a friggin' upline. Just get off your ass and go and do something for yourself. And like Peter says, we're not here to babysit you and change your nappies. Get off your ass and do something for you. Go and look. Okay, hold on. I don't know if I can say this. Should I say this? A certain MD spoke to me and Peter just the other week and said to us, oh, how do I do this and how do I do that? In fact, I don't think Peter even responded. But again, those questions that some people ask is literally available to everybody. And because we live in this insty society and everybody wants automatic gratification and instant gratification and they want everything handed to them on a platter. Guys, my message in closing to you is get off your ass and do something for yourself. You know, right now, life is busy enough. Me and Peter are busy chasing double, triple IMD. Go out there and give us a reason to remember your name. Give us a reason to want to work for you. Be a pleasure to work with. Don't be a headache. Don't be a nuisance. There's enough of them in our team. I'm joking. Peter, over to you, brother. My mentor,
So
my coach.
Exactly what Chris said. When we got started, we got serious. Our upline quit. All our uplines quit. Our upline, then that upline, then that upline quit. And we never had anyone but each other to mentor each other. And it was very, not disheartening, because it kind of made us streetwise in this. And we just were there for each other, accountable to each other. So, it's not essential to have a mentor. Like Chris said, have an accountability partner. That would be a good start. Then, after us mentoring each other and, helping each other, being accountable to each other, obviously then Sashin would look at us and say, okay, you guys are doing well. Now let's kind of work together. And he was our mentor and still is our mentor for the best part of the end of our journey, with World Ventures, in the last 4 years. So what I would say was, the one thing that I would do is I don't have one specific mentor that helps me and coaches me. I just go online and listen to audios and duplicate what other people do. Some people need to have a mentor, like some people need to have a personal trainer. For myself and Chris, we obviously just very strong-minded, and I mean, often Sashin phones us and say, "Hey guys, why don't you phone me for help?" And it's like, because Sash, we don't need you. We love you, we respect you, you're helping us, you're guiding us, but we don't actually need you. And that's just the way. And I'm not saying that it's you, but don't feel that you have to have a mentor. Don't feel that you have to have someone coaching you every freaking day, because you don't. This is your own business. This is your own business, and it's so simple. Just like Chris said, get off your freaking ass and go do something. It's your own business.
Absolutely.
And the way you treat it will be the end result.
Cool,
Absolutely. So guys, I'm so glad we touched on these questions, because lately a lot of people have been asking, where's the new video? Where's the new presentation? I don't have anybody to mentor me. My upline's not helping. My downline's not helping. So the end thing that I've taken from this, the nugget I've taken from you guys today, and obviously the only time I phone you guys is when I'm asking you to go and do a big shot presentation for the downline or build through for us, is get off your ass, guys. You know what? Stop asking everybody else to give you the stuff, because if we can go find it, it's accessible to you somewhere on the back office through support. You don't really need that other person to put it on a WhatsApp group for you. So Chris Clos, Peter Kuffler, I know I've been asking you guys for weeks to be on this call. It's been an absolute pleasure. We've got so many nuggets. We are going to be downloading this on YouTube and popping it on the WhatsApp groups just now. God bless you both for everything that you've given to the teams and to Team Expansion and World Ventures. And I know for sure, last question, what is the next 12-month goal before we close?
What's the next, sorry?
What is the goal for the next 12 months?
Triple IMD.
Double IMD, then triple IMD. And then after that, Chris and I are going to decide about 4, 5.
There you go, guys. Well done.
And also, $1 million ring earners. They're coming for you.
So
$1
guys,
million ring earners.
There you go, guys.
Number one, baby.
Guys on this call, set your goals for the next 12 months. We'll see you all on the call next week, Sunday. And don't forget, we've got 5 Sundays until the View from the Edge Africa 2019 in Pretoria. Make sure you get your ticket and you're in the venue.
Thanks, guys. It's been a pleasure having you on the call.
All right, guys. God bless. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thanks, Team Expansion. Thanks, Andrew and Sally. Thanks, Chris. God bless.
Cheers, guys. Bye.